Hey y'all, Matt here with another Bible study video, and today we're entering as Monday, we're entering Holy Week. It actually began yesterday with the celebration of Palm Sunday, or the celebration of Jesus's triumphal entry into Jerusalem. We call it Palm Sunday because it was the entry into Jerusalem of a king. Jesus knew, Zechariah chapter 9, verse 9, foretold that Jesus was going to enter Jerusalem riding a donkey. It didn't call him by name, though. It just said a king, a future king. And this is 500 years before Jesus actually did this, fulfilling the prophecy that Zechariah predicted this. But what we see is Jesus riding a donkey in to Jerusalem. It's the sign of a king. A king would usually ride a donkey or a horse. A donkey was a sign of peace, a horse a sign of war. And as Jesus comes in as the suffering servant, we see him riding this donkey, symbolizing a peace. And as he came in, he makes his royal entry, but it's countercultural to what the disciples would have expected. If they knew that he was fulfilling Zechariah 9, they would have expected Jesus to come in as king, as they were crowning him king, but he would receive robes of purple, of fine linen, as the king. He would be receiving a crown, a king's crown. He would be given this title of king, and he would also be raised up. He would be exalted. He would be praised. And we see that in this passage. But ultimately, what we see is Jesus flips the script upside down. He's not the king of war coming in to deliver his people from the Romans like a lot of them believe he's going to be. But he's riding this donkey of peace because Jesus is actually going to be wearing the burial robes. He's going to go through this week, and on Friday, he's going to go to the cross as the suffering servant that Isaiah 53 predicts. He's going to be humiliated. He's going to be made the lowly of lows. He's going to die a sacrificial death of a cursed criminal. This counter to everything a king should endure, especially God. For God to lower himself to this level, to do this for us, it's just incredible. He'll get those burial robes, and instead of a crown of a king, he'll be given a crown of thorns by those that are humiliating and mocking him. The title that he gets isn't king, but it's King of the Jews, that'll be hung up above his head in mockery as he is exalted or raised up on the cross, that is ultimately going to lead to a humiliating, awful, horrific death on this cross. And so Jesus, he does all of these things. He checks all of these boxes that a king would check, but he does them in ways that are countercultural. There's things that a king, there's no way a royal king would do, much less our God. And so this week, as we go into Holy Week, dwell on these things, meditate on these things, think differently about King Jesus, and how throughout this week he's coming into Jerusalem as a king of peace, but that one day he's going to come back. In Revelation, it says he comes back in that final day to make rights wrong and to restore all of us to what we were originally meant to be. But he's going to come back as a king of war, and he's going to bring judgment. He's not going to be the king of peace in this time. And every knee at that point is going to bow to Jesus. The issue is whether or not you're going to bow to him now because you want to serve him and because you love him and because you're grateful that he went to the cross and that he bore your sin and that he died the death that you deserve, or your knee's going to bow because he's going to break it. He's going to make you bow to him because he is the king. He is God. He is the creator. He is the sustainer. But keep these things in mind as we go through this week. It's an incredible week, and it's something that we kind of lose all of. We get distracted by celebrating Easter with all the Easter egg hunts, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we need to focus on King Jesus. I hope this has been beneficial. Love you guys. Blessings.